Have you ever felt awkward or struggled to fit in with your colleagues at work? Have you ever thought that, why can't I just be confident? What if I told you that awkwardness, yes, awkwardness is your strength? Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Danish and I have been a front-end developer for past 10 years. I have been working for billion-dollar companies in Middle East and in Canada. Currently I'm working for Intuit as a front-end developer and I have been struggling with confidence for a long time. Recently I read a book called Good Awkward and it has a life-changing effect on me. This book has taught me more about confidence than anything else. Confidence basically comes from the feeling of awkwardness. Awkwardness comes in the situations which are inconvenient to you. A feeling of embarrassment or insecurity or inconvenience is what triggers awkwardness in you, which in turn makes you less confident. But what we need to realize that feeling of awkwardness is learned. Have you ever wondered why children just dance around and they don't feel underconfident or they don't feel awkward? As children, we never thought twice about doing something. We sang out loudly, we danced in public, we shouted, but we never felt awkward. A recent study shows that we start to learn social norms when we get to the age of 8, and that's when we try to internalize what people think of us. So one of the things that guide our awkwardness is self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is of two types, public and private. Private consciousness is more like our self-reflection, meditation, things which make us fearful, our motivations. All of these things are private consciousness. Whereas public consciousness is the awareness of ourselves as other people view us. These are the things which we think are displayed on public. These are the qualities that people think make our personality. Public self-consciousness is the awareness of ourselves in terms of what people think of us. These are the things we put on display for others to see, and we think this will make an impression of how others will see us. Hence, your awkwardness is a form of public self-consciousness. So this brings us to the concept of self-identity gap. This is the gap between how you see yourself and how you think others see you. Around the age of 8, our brains change, and that's when we try to internalize social norms. So the negative events that we experience then become part of our personality, and we try to avoid as much as we can of those negative experiences to avoid awkwardness. We experience higher level of anxiety when we try to behave with the preferences of how others see us instead of being our authentic selves. This is called the spotlight effect. Most of us who feel less confident are feeling so because we are seeking external validation. We care a lot about how other people think of us. Researchers at Cornell University call this a spotlight effect, which basically means that we are in a constant spotlight and we are being observed by others all the time. This is a tendency to overestimate how closely others are monitoring us. There was an experiment conducted where two groups of students were asked to wear two different types of shirts. One group was asked to wear normal shirts and the other was asked to wear embarrassing shirts. And the two groups were asked to guess the number of people watching them. Both of the groups suggested that 50% of people will notice them in their groups, whereas the actual results were surprisingly very low. The people who were wearing normal shirts were only observed by 10% of the people in the group, and the people who were wearing embarrassing shirts were only observed by 25% people in the group. This shows that we always overestimate how people look at us and how often are we being observed. The truth is, we are not the first thing in other people's mind. They are more worried about themselves and how we approve of them. You might have noticed in the personalities who are more confident and more extrovert that they embrace their awkwardness. Awkwardness is the soil that nurtures your confidence. So instead of avoiding it, what you need to do is to embrace it. So if you reflect back on some of your connections who you perceive are confident, you might notice that they are the persons who accept their awkwardness. They openly embrace it and handle that with grace. This is what makes them confident. Awkwardness is not something to avoid, it's basically something to embrace. And once we become comfortable with our imperfect selves, that's when we unleash our full potential. Being comfortable with our imperfect selves is the first step towards becoming confident. One way to practice and overcome this feeling of awkwardness is to change how you think in an awkward situation. For example, in a meeting, if you already suggested an idea which somebody else suggested, you might feel awkward. But instead of saying that, oh my god, I'm so awkward, I shouldn't have opened my mouth, change the sentence in your mind to, okay, I feel awkward right now and this will go away. And the reality is, after the meeting, no one will remember it. Somebody recently in our town hall at Intuit asked the CTO what advice would you give to the new joiner to be successful at it. Instead of saying that you should excel at this technology or things like that, he just said one thing, that you are a new joiner, you might be trying to blend into the culture, get along with your colleagues. But I would say one thing, just be yourself, be your authentic self, and that's when you will bring out your true potential. Small mistakes that you make throughout your day makes you more human. Nobody is very perfect. Another way to overcome this feeling of awkwardness is to change your mindset from avoiding it to embracing it. For example, if you know that you will be going into a situation which will make you awkward, so instead of saying that, how do I avoid it? Tell yourself, okay, I feel awkward right now, but I will try this anyway. And to level this up, just say that out loudly. For example, my hands used to shake when I was giving the presentations at work or at my college. But once I said this, hi audience, you might see my hands shaking, but I guarantee you that you will love the presentation. And once I said that, the pressure was relieved and I was more confident in delivering the presentation. Being able to name that emotion at that moment takes practice, but it has a transformative effect on your mindset. One of the biggest lessons I have learned is that we grow faster when we are supported by the colleagues around us. And for this reason, I have created a community where I help software engineers building better careers. We have weekly calls where I answer their questions about career. We have resume reviews and mock interviews to help them build confidence. If you're about to graduate, want to get industry insights, or if you're already a software engineer working in the industry, want to move abroad, you're looking for resume reviews or mock interviews, the link to the community is down in the description. Make sure you check it out. One of the primary difference between feeling empowered and feeling awkward is the stories we tell ourselves. Take for example a person who was thrown into the swimming pool by their parent to learn swimming might have two different stories. One person would see as an entrepreneur who takes risk and learn by doing. The other one might tell themselves a story that they hate boats, they hate swimming pool, and they don't trust anyone. When we take the time to acknowledge the stories we tell ourselves, we build the muscle to see the upside of the cringiest moments we go through. And when we practice this regularly, it builds our muscle to someone who takes risks and is confident. One of the personality changing advice this book gave me was to think in terms of cost of not accepting awkwardness. The author gives this a name, crossing the cringe chasm. Cringe chasm is a point where you have to make a choice to be yourself or to be a person pleaser. Not crossing the cringe chasm comes with an opportunity cost. Either you can be a slow mover, pleasing persons and adapting yourself to what other people think, or you can just take the risk to ask for a higher salary, to accept to lead that project, to start that business, or to just go and present yourself out in public. Think of this as if you are standing on a mountain where you know the path, you are comfortable in navigating, you have the external validation, and you are just comfortable in your skin. On the other hand is a mountain which gives you opportunities, but you have to make a jump. And there is this gap in between. This is called cringe chasm. The first mountain is called the approval mindset, and the second mountain is called the improvement mindset. Just making this jump from approval to improvement changes your whole mindset. You yourself of thinking of being judged by others changes completely to seek feedback and improve on yourself. Once you make a jump to the improvement mindset, you take the risk to speak out in the meetings without the feeling of judgment. You seek feedback and you improve on that. You tell your suggestions in the meeting. You start that business without fearing what other people would say. This video is one of those jumps I took to cross my cringe chasm without the fear of being judged. I do seek feedback so that I can improve on it. Being in the improvement mindset allows you to take risks where you can explore new paths. You would try initiatives which will open new and more opportunities for you. Instead of approval mindset where you wait for approval for anything to happen. You don't speak up in the meetings because you think you might be considered as dumb or foolish. You don't take that particular initiative by thinking that what if it goes wrong. The writer of the book Atomic Habits have conveyed this in a beautiful equation where power combination is equal to hate at being bad at stuff and willing to look like a beginner. Once you combine these two qualities, you truly unleash your potential. So in the end, the only thing that can make you confident is to make sure that you embrace your awkwardness. And to embrace the awkwardness, there are a few things you should do, which is first to change the sentence that, oh my god, I'm awkward, to something, I feel awkward right now and this will go away. The second thing is to say it out loud. If you're starting a presentation, tell them that you feel nervous, but that the presentation will be enjoyable. And the third thing is to be confident to cross that cringe chasm. Once you make that jump from approval to improvement mindset, you unleash your potential to be more confident. This single mindset change from being approval to improvement has opened so many opportunities for me. And if you want to become more confident, make sure you start embracing your awkwardness. Your awkwardness is the soil that nurtures your confidence. See you in the next video.